Good morning, Canada, and welcome to your daily news update for Monday, April the 7th, 2025. I'm bringing you the latest facts from April 6th straight from the headlines. Today we're diving into Canada's federal election campaign. Now in its third week ahead of April the 28th vote is seeing a dramatic shift. A poll conducted for Global News between April the 1st and April the 3rd shows the Liberals, led by Prime Minister Mark Carney, widening their lead over Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives to 12 points. This comes as a reversal from 2 months ago when Poilievre held a double-digit advantage until U.S. President Donald Trump's threats of tariffs and annexation flipped the narrative. The Liberals now sit at a 11-point lead according to the Nanos poll from April the 5th, with Carney trusted more than Poilievre to keep campaign promises per a CTV News survey April 4th. I do not believe that, but that is what they're reporting, and that's what I'm reporting to you. On April 6th, party leaders were on the move. Carney and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh pushed for federal funding to bolster the CBC Radio Canada, a proposal Poilievre dismissed as unaffordable. Meanwhile, the Conservatives are grappling with internal tensions and a drop in volunteers, with some candidates in key ridings reportedly begging friends for votes. Seriously? A Politico report notes Poilievre's rallies are drawing thousands, but his campaign's restricted media access is raising eyebrows. So he's restricting Canadian news access, but he's only, so far as I know, he only restricted the CBC and those types that are paid by the government. So I can't blame him for that, really. So in contrast, Carney's Liberals owed a 10-point lead in British Columbia and Ontario, critical battlegrounds per the National Post. That's what they're saying. Elsewhere, the Conservative Party dropped candidate Don Patel in Etobicoke North after he endorsed a social media post calling for deportations to India, spotlighting extremism concerns in the race. The NDP, meanwhile, got a boost from BC Premier David Eby, who urged voters to back Singh and his team in a video posted April 4th with the French language debate set for April the 16th. The election remains fluid as polls show the Liberals with an 83% chance of victory. Bullshit! Oh, wow. This is the government money at its best for the news media. According to The Economist, that's the 83% is the expectation for Liberals to win. Turning to Canada's money situation, the economy is under pressure from global markets and U.S. policy. On April 3rd, Carney announced a 25% tariff on U.S. vehicles not compliant with the Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement, exempting vehicle parts in response to Trump's trade threats. This follows Trump's earlier tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, and automobiles, which have sparked protests, like the one in Toronto's Nathan Phillips Square on March 22nd, and a Buy Canadian Instead push seen in Vancouver supermarkets by March 28th. A major election talking points is the CBC's funding. Let's get to this. On April 4th, Carney vowed to boost CBC's Radio Canada's annual budget by 150 million, bringing its total government funding to over 1.55 billion in taxpayers' dollars for 2025. That's per CBC News reports. The CBC News, a Crown corporation, receives this money directly from the federal government to operate as a public broadcaster. Critics, including the Conservatives, argue this level of state funding, over $1 billion yearly, gives the government too much sway over news content. They point to countries like North Korea and China, where state-owned media, such as North Korea's KCNA and China's Xinhua, serves as government mouthpieces, controlling narratives and suppressing dissent. In North Korea, all media is run by state under Kim Jong-un regime, while China's Communist Party tightly regulates outlets to align with its agenda. Canadians are being asked, does heavy government funding of the CBC risk, sliding towards that model, where news becomes a tool for those in power rather than a public service? Poilievre says it's a cost Canada can't afford, and I will agree with it, while Carney insists it ensures independent local journalism. How is that promoting independent journalism when the government pays CBC? In my opinion, and maybe yours, a news agency such as CBC should be funded by the people, not by taxpayers' dollars. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, if I like what CBC is putting out there, then I would support it, whether I'm a business advertising with CBC or a personal donation. If the masses don't like what CBC, I'm just picking on CBC because that's what's mentioned by Carney and others. But if the mass of the people don't like what CBC is doing, then they go out of business. So it's a true factor into whether or not you're doing a good job. So, no, I agree with that. No taxpayers' dollar should go to any news agency, newspaper or otherwise. So that's my opinion. Whether or not you agree, I don't know. Globally, markets take a hit on April 6th, with Asian shares plummeting after a Wall Street meltdown the previous Friday. That was driven by Trump's economic policies, of course. Back home, the federal government's $2.6 billion Canada Greener Homes grant for heat pumps and solar panels is under scrutiny. Voters want results. Meanwhile, Poilievre and Singh both pledged to tackle offshore tax havens, a fiscal fairness issue gaining traction. Really, while Mark Carney is under, it's a fact that he had tax havens and didn't pay taxes to Canada, which he is involved in and now runs. So, wow. When you get up there and you say, vote for me, I'm a Canadian and I want what's best for Canada and Canadians, but yet I don't pay my taxes to Canada. Personally, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Violence in Canada. On the crime front, Canada saw notable incidences on April 6 in Ottawa. Police charged a 31-year-old man with multiple offences after an incident that locked down part of Parliament Hill, though details remain limited. Across the country, intimate partner violence is a growing election issue, with party leaders addressing it on the campaign trail April 4th. Statistics aren't updated daily, but the focus reflects rising public concern. In Toronto, diaspora politics are under the microscope after the Patel controversy, uh, with experts warning extremism could escalate if unaddressed. Meanwhile, no major violent incidences were reported in Canada on April 6th, but the election's heated rhetoric, especially Trump's 51 state jab, is stoking tensions. Leaders are pledging tougher measures, with Poilievre targeting abusers in his latest stump speech, per post on X from April 5th. Zooming out to world news, severe storms battered the U.S. South and Midwest on April 6, unleashing flash floods and tornadoes from Mississippi to Kentucky. In West Texas, a measles outbreak claimed a second school-aged child's life, confirmed Sunday as cases swell. Markets remain jittery, with global stocks wiped out for a second day on April 5th per CBC, as Trump's policies ripple worldwide. Wisconsin's Supreme Court election saw Liberal Susan Crawford win on April 1st, maintaining a 4-3 majority, a setback for Trump's allies.